Good morning, everyone. Today, I want you to understand something that will change the way you face every obstacle in your life. Pain is not your enemy. It is your greatest weapon if you learn how to use it. Jocko Willink teaches us that pain is the ultimate teacher, the fire that forges true strength, and the crucible where mental toughness is born. Every single one of us will face pain, physical pain, emotional pain, the pain of failure, rejection, or loss. You cannot avoid it, no matter how hard you try. But here's the truth. Most people run from pain. They hide from it. They numb themselves with distractions, and in doing so, they rob themselves of their own power. Jocko's message is simple and brutal. Stop running. Face it. Lean into it. Turn pain into power, because the pain you are avoiding today is the very thing that has the potential to transform you into someone unstoppable. Every time you confront pain, instead of retreating, you strengthen your will, you sharpen your mind, and you build the kind of resilience that comfort will never give you. When you go through pain, you are at a crossroads. One path leads to weakness, excuses, and surrender. The other leads to strength, grit, and greatness. Pain is the test, and how you respond to it determines who you become. Jocko says, when you're suffering, that is the exact moment you have to push harder, because that's where the transformation happens. Think about it. Champions aren't made in easy moments. They are forged in the hours no one sees, drenched in sweat, pushing past exhaustion, fighting through setbacks, embracing the grind that breaks most people. Pain reveals your limits, and when you push through it, you redefine them. This is what separates the strong from the weak, the relentless from the average. Most people quit the moment it hurts, but Jocko tells us to keep going, because on the other side of that pain is growth. You cannot get any other way. Pain isn't punishment, it's the price of progress. Every scar you earn, every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, becomes proof that you are harder, tougher, and more capable than you once believed. Mental toughness is not built in comfort, it's built when you stare pain in the face and refuse to break. The mind will scream at you to stop. It will tell you you've had enough, that you can't go any further, that you need to quit. That's a lie. Your mind lies to protect you from discomfort, but Jocko says you have to override it. You must train your mind the same way you train your body, through resistance, repetition, and discipline. Every time you push one step further than you thought you could, you teach your brain that you are in control, not your fear, not your weakness, not your pain. That's mental toughness. It's not about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's about taking pain, reframing it, and using it as fuel. When life knocks you down, you get up faster. When failure stings, you learn and attack again. Pain is not the end, it's the beginning of a stronger version of you. So the next time you feel pain, don't hide from it. Don't complain. Don't wish it away. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to teach me? How can I use it to become better, sharper, and tougher? Because here's the truth. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. When you quit to avoid pain, you don't escape it. You just trade short-term discomfort for long-term regret. But when you embrace pain and push through, you earn something far greater than relief. You earn pride, strength, and the unshakable belief that no matter what comes your way, you can handle it. That belief is power. That's the mindset that allows you to face anything head-on. Jocko Willink's wake-up call is this: stop avoiding pain, start using it. Let it harden you, let it shape you, let it transform you into someone who doesn't just survive adversity, but thrives in it. Because if you can learn to turn pain into power, there is nothing, no setback, no challenge, no hardship that can break you. You will be forged in the fire, unshakable, unstoppable, and ready for war. Discipline yourself to endure pain now, so you can live free later. Remember this: pain is the price of strength, and strength is the path to freedom. Embrace it. Turn your pain into power. Stay disciplined, stay relentless, and never, ever break. Pain is the greatest catalyst for transformation, but only if you choose to face it head on and use it as fuel instead of running from it. Jocko Willink's philosophy on mental toughness is rooted in the truth that pain is not something to fear, it is something to embrace, to harness, and to convert into power. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort, dodging challenges, and doing everything they can to stay comfortable, but in that pursuit of comfort, they weaken themselves. They forget that every ounce of growth they've ever experienced came after moments of struggle, challenge, and hardship. The human body gets stronger by tearing muscles apart and rebuilding them. The mind works the same way. It grows tougher every time it is pushed past its limits. Jocko explains that pain is like a forge. It burns away weakness and leaves behind strength, resilience, and unshakable willpower. When life hits you with pain, you're standing in front of a choice. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. Too many people collapse under the weight of pain because they misinterpret it as a signal to quit. But Jocko flips that perspective. He says pain is not a stop sign, it's a green light telling you you're heading in the right direction. Because if it's painful, it's changing you. If it's uncomfortable, it's shaping you. That's how mental toughness is built, not by avoiding the fire, but by walking through it and coming out hardened, sharper, and unstoppable on the other side. When you wake up early to train and your body screams to stay in bed, that's pain talking. But that's also the moment discipline is forged. When you grind through hours of work while everyone else is distracted or relaxing, that's pain. But that's also the moment you separate yourself from the crowd. Pain is proof that you are doing the work that others are unwilling to do, and that's exactly why it is the currency of greatness. Jocko tells us that mental toughness is not a gift you are born with, it is a skill you build, rep by rep, day by day, by repeatedly facing the discomfort you'd rather avoid. Every single time you resist the urge to take the easy way out, you're telling yourself, I am in control. I decide what happens, not my fear, not my weakness, not my pain. That is how you turn pain into power. You stop seeing it as suffering, and you start seeing it as training. Every struggle becomes an opportunity. Every failure becomes feedback. Every setback becomes a setup for a stronger comeback. The pain itself doesn't disappear, you just become stronger than it. That's what mental toughness is. It's the ability to endure pain without losing focus, to stay disciplined when everything in you wants to quit, and to keep moving forward when every step burns. Jocko often says, good, when faced with problems, setbacks, and adversity. Why? Because pain is not just inevitable, it's useful. When you feel pain, it's a signal that there's work to be done, and that work is exactly what's going to elevate you to the next level. Missed an opportunity? Good. Now you have time to improve and be ready for the next one. Failed at something important? Good. You've learned what doesn't work, and you're tougher for it. Felt exhausted, beaten down, and stretched to your limit? Good. You're training mental toughness, whether you realize it or not. This mindset flips the script on pain entirely. Instead of seeing it as punishment, you see it as preparation. Instead of being crushed by it, you're carved into something stronger. Pain becomes less of a burden and more of a tool in your arsenal. The people who win in life, the ones who rise to the top, are not the ones who had no pain. They're the ones who took their pain and used it to drive them. They channeled it into discipline, into focus, into relentless action, until they became unstoppable. Your ability to turn pain into power comes down to perspective. If you keep telling yourself, pain is unbearable, it will be. But if you train your mind to see pain as a stepping stone, you rewire your entire approach to life. Jocko is relentless in teaching that pain is not permanent, but quitting is. Every ache fades, every sore muscle recovers, every tough season eventually passes. But if you run from pain, if you let it scare you into inaction, that decision stays with you forever. Regret lasts far longer than discomfort. This is why Jocko demands that you embrace pain, not in some masochistic way, but because he knows it is the gateway to mental toughness and the only way to harden yourself for the challenges ahead. Life will hit you whether you're ready or not. Pain will come whether you expect it or not. You don't get to choose that. What you do get to choose is how you respond. Do you let it break you, or do you use it as fuel to come back stronger, sharper, more disciplined than before? That's the essence of Jocko's mental warfare. Take the hit, stand back up, and hit back harder. When you condition your mind to endure pain, something incredible happens. Fear starts to lose its grip on you. You stop fearing failure because you know you can survive it. You stop fearing discomfort because you've trained yourself to thrive in it. You stop fearing challenges because you've learned that each one makes you stronger. That's the ultimate power pain gives you. Freedom. Freedom from the control of fear. Freedom from the need for comfort. Freedom from the weak mindset that keeps most people stuck where they are. And it all begins with discipline. The discipline to face pain voluntarily, to do the hard things daily, to run toward the grind instead of away from it. Wake up early even when you don't want to. Push through that last rep when your muscles are on fire. Stay locked in on your goals even when your mind craves the easy escape. Each time you do, you're not just enduring pain, you're training your mind to obey you, not the other way around. That's the kind of mental toughness that turns ordinary people into warriors. In the end, pain is not something to fear. It is something to respect, to embrace, and to use. Jocko Willink's message is clear. You don't get stronger in spite of pain. You get stronger because of every struggle, every setback, every ounce of discomfort is shaping you into the person you're meant to be if you refuse to quit. Pain is the price of power, and those who are willing to pay it become unstoppable. If you can learn to reframe pain as an ally instead of an enemy, you will discover a level of strength and mental toughness that will carry you through anything. Remember this, pain is temporary, but the power it builds lasts forever. Turning pain into power is not just about enduring hardships when they come, it's about systematically training yourself to face pain deliberately, to build resilience intentionally, and to forge mental toughness as a daily practice. Jocko Willink teaches that discipline is the bridge between pain and power. You cannot wait for life to test you. You must create those tests for yourself every single day. That means waking up earlier than you want to, pushing your body harder than you think you can, holding yourself accountable even when no one is watching, and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations by choice so that when life delivers pain unexpectedly, you are ready. Pain becomes familiar, even welcomed, because you know that every time you voluntarily step into discomfort, you are sharpening yourself like a blade. Jocko often says, discipline equals freedom, and this principle applies here perfectly. When you discipline yourself to confront pain regularly, you build a freedom from fear, weakness, and hesitation. You don't just react to pain anymore, you dominate it, because you have conditioned your mind to view it not as suffering, but as training. This is how Navy SEALs are built. They don't rise to the occasion, they fall back to their training. They deliberately push themselves into the fire long before real battles come, so by the time they face true adversity, they've already fought 1,000 wars within themselves and won. You must do the same in your life. Jocko explains that the brain is like a muscle. It needs resistance to grow stronger. Mental toughness is built the same way. Physical toughness is through deliberate, repeated exposure to challenge. Start with small wins. Wake up early when it's freezing outside, and your bed feels like the safest place on earth. Force yourself to get up anyway. Do that workout when your body says you're too tired. Eat clean when your cravings scream for junk food. These might seem like small meaningless actions, but each one is a rep in the gym of mental toughness. Over time, they compound, and what once felt impossible becomes your new baseline. The pain that used to intimidate you becomes routine. That's the beauty of this process. You don't just survive pain, you normalize it until it no longer controls you. This creates a shift in your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids hard things and start seeing yourself as the kind of person who thrives in them. That identity change is where true power lies, because once you see yourself as someone who can endure anything, you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop making excuses. You stop fearing challenges because you know you've conditioned yourself for war. The critical part of this transformation is controlling the narrative in your mind. Pain is not just physical, it is mental. Most people quit not because their body fails, but because their mind convinces them they can't go on. That's why Jocko insists, you must discipline your thoughts as ruthlessly as your actions. When pain comes, your first instinct is to look for escape, to focus on the discomfort, to magnify it in your head until it feels unbearable. Instead, you must train yourself to reframe it instantly. When your lungs are burning in a workout, don't say this hurts too much. Say this is where I get stronger. When life blindsides you with hardship, don't think, why me? Think, good, this is my chance to prove how tough I am. That shift in perspective is everything. Pain doesn't disappear, but its power over you does. It stops feeling like suffering and starts feeling like an opportunity, like progress, like proof that you are becoming something greater than you were yesterday. That's the essence of mental warfare. You fight your own mind and win over and over until it obeys you without hesitation. But this process is not glamorous. It is not easy. It is raw, grinding work. There will be days you don't want to get out of bed. Days you feel broken, exhausted, and defeated. Those are the days, Jocko says, you must dig even deeper, because those moments are where mental toughness is forged the strongest. Anyone can be disciplined when it's convenient. True warriors are disciplined when it's miserable. Pain will test you, strip you down, and challenge every ounce of your willpower. That's why most people quit. But if you endure, if you refuse to give in, something extraordinary happens. You build an unshakable belief in yourself. You start to understand that no matter how bad it gets, you won't break. That belief is worth more than anything, because it carries into every area of your life, your work, your relationships, your goal. You stop being controlled by external circumstances, because you know your internal strength is greater than anything outside of you. That is real freedom. That is real power. Jocko Willink's message is brutal but liberating. Pain is not optional, but suffering is. You decide what to do with it. You can let it crush you, or you can use it to build the strongest version of yourself. Life will never stop testing you. Pain will always come in waves. Loss, failure, setbacks, rejection. You cannot avoid it, but you can prepare for it. And when you do, pain stops being something you dread. It becomes something you harness, something that sharpens you like a blade until you're unbreakable. That's why Jocko's system is not just about enduring pain, but transforming it. Every workout, every early morning, every disciplined choice is training for the war that life will inevitably bring. And when it does, you'll be ready, not just to survive, but to win. Pain is not a curse, it's a gift. If you choose to see it that way, it is the pathway to power, to strength, to freedom from fear. Every time you face it head on, you become more resilient, more disciplined, more capable of handling whatever comes next. So stop hiding, stop waiting for an easy life that will never come. As Jocko says, get after it. Wake up early, seek discomfort, embrace the grind, and use every ounce of pain as fuel. When it hurts, smile, because that means you are growing. When it burns, push harder, because that's where transformation begins. You have two choices: remain weak, comfortable, and stagnant, or walk through the fire and come out forged, hardened, and powerful. Pain is the forge, discipline is the hammer, and you through sheer will become the weapon. Turn pain into power, and there will be nothing in this world capable of stopping you.